expressing the same concerns on a report to the Waipuna Linwood Central Heathcote Community Board on the proposed demolition of the Woodland Park caretakers' residence. The board, I had the same concerns, very same concerns. The board chose to have the report lay on the table whilst a heritage assessment of the Woodland Park caretakers' residence was conducted and a public engagement for future community use was carried out. Those of you with longer memories will recall we almost lost the Yildhurst Memorial Hall in similar circumstances. Responding to a HPC presentation, assurances were given then that there would be a change in management procedures ensuring the heritage team would be brought in earlier in the CC decision-making process to advise and assess. Historic Places Canterbury considers the community boards are often having the best appreciation of your heritage. As the local guardians of your heritage, HPC asks that you be vigilant in your role. HPC recognise that often the board can only make recommendations to the full council, and HPC is of the belief that where possible, there is a possibility heritage may be involved. You require any report that is to be received, address the council heritage policy, our heritage, our taonga, and ask and ensure the council heritage team's input, advice be sought. On a more broader issue, HPC considers that when it comes to the future of a council-owned building with a social history, the default setting should be public engagement to ascertain if there is a community use for it. This should occur before any decision and reports about its future, e.g. sale or demolition, are written. The Council's heritage strategy has been broadened and includes social history. It recognises, as we all should, the importance of our heritage, our taonga. Thank you for listening to this presentation.
Thank you very much, Mark. And that's I think that's an excellent step in the right direction, and appreciate you bringing that to our community board, because it's too easy for things to slip through the cracks. And our community board back in the day, we engaged a professional actually to look at and research all the historic buildings and places in the Riccarton Wigram ward. And that booklet is still available in the council archives. But that's something that we did so that our board knew the location of not only historic buildings but of historic places as well. So I really welcome that wish, Mark. Really do. Thank you. Is there any questions of Mark?
Yes. If I could ask a question, Mark. Hi. Hi. I just want it. This is not a listed heritage building, is it? So are you saying it's important because of the social history, even though it's not listed?
This is the Upper Riccarton War Memorial Library. Yes, our stance is, and in fact, I'm going to do another, for those on council, I'm doing a public forum presentation tomorrow, and one of the requests is that the staff be proactive, because the council's heritage strategy says there's a partnership with the council about our heritage. It's something that we should partner with the community. And that's why we've asked where there's a possibility that heritage may be involved, the council be proactive and engage the heritage team to ascertain and seek their advice early in the process, which is, again, we were given assurance on the Yildhurst Memorial Hall some years ago that this would happen.
Oh, I see. But for the
this
Upper
is for buildings that are not
library,
listed.
Yeah, I mean, there is a slight problem in that it's not a listed heritage building, isn't there?
That's precisely, but then again, that's that assessment to work out whether there's a possibility, whether it has heritage values and should be before we lose it. I'm mindful that once we've lost it, that's it. It can't come back.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much, Mark.
Good.
Any other questions?
Jimmy and then Anne.
Yep, okay. Jimmy?
Yeah, Mark. Yeah. I remember regarding to the heritage building facility, you always on behalf of HPC, have make the deputation to the council table, but community board should be the same, because while for us, elected member, we are not fully aware, some of the facility or building is a heavy building or it's not a heavy building. But for example, you done a great job, particularly we working together, to save the Yildhurst Rural Memorial Hall. At moment, even last week, I asked the staff, now it's in the district plan, one of 40, heritage, the list. That's very, very good. I just want to know whether please also be aware in the community board meeting also is an open meeting. If any of the issue, particularly regarding heritage one, your group still need to eligible to make the submission. It's okay?
Yes. Yep.
So
because
the
Upper Wicton one, my understanding, you didn't make the submission during the community board meeting. Yeah.
No, we won't. This is where the council process is interesting. If we make a deputation formally to the community board, we can't go to the full council.
Correct.
We don't get two issues on this one, which is why I made a personal deputation to on the Woodland Park caretakers residence. It was a personal deputation as a resident in the area, and unfortunately, when the Upper Riccarton went to the full council, I was actually sick.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
So,
thank you.
I'm sorry I couldn't drag myself out of the sick bed to do a full one to the screen, which is a little unreasonable, quite difficult.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Now, who was next? Sorry.
Anne.
Hi, Mark. Look, Mark,
Thanks,
thank
Richard.
you. We really appreciate your passion for protecting these buildings and for heritage. But just thinking about the heritage strategy, definition of heritage is wider than just a building. Can you just talk to us a little bit about the ideas about what heritage are that are encompassed in the heritage strategy?
I can give you a brief summation, but I think that really that what I would suggest is that you get the heritage team to give a presentation to each of the the community boards, so that they're aware of what they consider heritage, because it does encompass a lot of initiatives. Oral history is one of them. The social history of the building, which is what the community boards know about. Some of you have it, as I said, it's your local patch, so you're really aware of it. Are just some of the factors that are considered important. I should also point out that there's a wonderful Christchurch initiative called Christchurch Stories, which is regularly posting photographs and stories about Canterbury heritage, because it's no longer confined to buildings only. We used to confine it just to built heritage, and it's further. And it's a wonderful initiative, especially the website. They're adding documents and photographs all the time. And so I would suggest that the heritage come and talk to you as to what's considered and what the heritage strategy does, and you'll get a fuller understanding, because it is your level.
Yeah. So just continuing on that, Mark, social heritage, social history doesn't have to be in the form of a building. It can be maintained and continued through other means.
I tend to disagree, because I consider the heritage building as like a marker. It will tell you what was going on at the time, and it's a physical reminder of how things were. If you go to, I'm trying to think of a heritage building, you understand, like if you go to the old OGB building, which is currently apartments and occupied by Heritage Christchurch, you understand what it was like to be the civil service when the building opened. You get a physical representation of feeling about how it was, which you really won't get in books, etc.
But physical places like the Horseball Quarry and other locations are very important, just for their location and the memories of what happened at that location, I think is what Anne's referring to, Mark.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's crucially important to have it, because you understand. I mean, part of our argument was over as regards the Woodland Park caretakers residence as an example. Apparently every major park had a caretakers residence. Now they've nearly all gone, and that was a 1940s building. So to retain one of them, we'd understand what the council was thinking when they had a park there.
Yep, that's right. Yep.
And
okay.
So they're really mementos of how we were.
Any further questions? No, well, thank you very much, Mark, for bringing that to us, and we will follow up, no doubt. And
Thank you very much for this
we will
opportunity.
keep a conversation. Thanks very much, Mark.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Moving on then to deputations. There are none. Presentation of petitions. There are none. and correspondence. I'll just hand you over to Faye, but anyway, the correspondence is there, and we're all aware of it. So would somebody like to move that we receive the correspondence?
Yep, happy to move.
Been moved by Mark Peters, seconded
I'll second.
by Helen. Is there any discussion? Then I'll put the motion that we receive the correspondence. All those in favour say aye.
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 Against, if any, carried. Now we're moving on then to the Waipuna Halswell-Hornby-Riccarton Community Board Discretionary Response Funds, and we got one from Hornby High and from Brackenridge Services Limited.
I'd like to move that, Mike. We've all read it.
Been moved that we
Second.
happy with both of those applications. Been moved by.
May I ask a question?
Certainly, Jimmy.
Regarding the second one, Breckenridge Service Limit, the applicant requests 10,000, but we granted for 8,500. My question is regarding the plumbing. Those 1,500 whether will affect those kitchen improvement. Whether staff can answer this question.
Have we got a staff officer there? Because I did ask the
Marie
question.
will be able to answer the question. Marie's
Can-
online.
Can I hear the question again, please?
Whose question?
Can I
Yours.
hear the question again, Jimmy? It wasn't very
my
clear.
question is because applicant request for the $10,000, we grant only 8,500 only, but this one is particular focus on the cabinetry, the 8,500. However, this kitchen improvement should be covered cabinetry and also plumbing. If plumbing 1,500, we didn't grant whether affect this the kitchen improvement.
Okay,
Upgrade,
so
yeah.
thank you. Thank you.
It's Marie here. I do not believe that not funding the plumbing component will affect the project. If you have a look there, the total cost of the project is 36,728. So they've already been able to find a considerable amount of resources. So therefore, I recommended an amount of 8,500, which, as Jimmy quite rightly said, is the cabinetry component.
Yes.
But so plumbing that's okay. If we are not going to fund it, no impact.
There should be little impact on Breckenridge to be able to deliver the project by not funding the extra 1,500.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Good.
Okay,
Good.
thank you.
Okay. So it's been moved and seconded. There are no further questions. Then I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye.
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 If any, carried. Thank you. Moving on
Thank you.
then there to the next item on our agenda, which is the elected members information exchange. Who wants to kick the ball rolling today?
Mark Peters and then Jimmy.
Mark and then Jimmy. Thank you. Fire ahead, Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At the Greater Hornby Region Association on the weekend, there was some questions around an item in the annual plan, 17082, about Main South Hornby new link.
Yeah, I've been working on it today. Have you seen the emails that came through from Faye?
Sorry, I've been working today, Mike, so I haven't had a chance to see
Okay.
it.
Okay, now I raised it following our meeting on Sunday.
Good.
And Faye sent back some information via email, and it says what it's for. It
Yep.
says it's for a new industrial subdivision, but it doesn't say where.
Oh, that's handy.
Sorry, Faye, you might have some more update on that.
I haven't got any update other than what I've sent through already.
Okay.
So my impression, Mike and Mark, was that this was a planning thing. So planning, they may in fact be planning where the subdivision will go and where any link might go. But I will clarify that with the project manager when I can get hold of them.
Excellent.
Okay, thank you. But that's the sort of thing that appears in the annual plan.
Mm.
And when you start asking questions, it can get a bit of a foreign thing, because it sounds like a simple little bit of roadway,
Yeah.
But we don't know where it is or what in new industrial subdivision that's being planned for our area, which is very important to our community board. We should know these things.
Absolutely.
So we'll just wait, and thanks very much for the work that you've done on it, Faye. And what else have you got, Mark?
Yep, got a good list here. Next one
Okay.
I'll make everyone aware of was Awatea Gardens. We had another email through, another pet got killed in there, unfortunately.
Yes, yeah.
And I put that through to Emma and the team, and we're trying to get some urgency on that one from staff. Thank you for that, Emma.
Yeah, we've got responses on them. Well done. Yep.
Yep. And then we've, on the Greater Hornby Residents Association, again, they mentioned about the men's shed having some interesting times trying to get the Waikola Park location confirmed, and therefore, just expressing their interest in the Gilberthorpe's Road 151 to 153.
Oh, interesting, yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully that can progress in the right direction.
Yep.
I got an email from Paul Deacon from the Christchurch Disc Golf Club about Warren Park, and I understand they've now installed their course there, excepting for a couple of items which they're going to be seeking funding for, and I've referred that towards Sam to follow up with them, and I'm also referring them to the Rotary Club to see if there can be any help for funding from there to help get the protective mats and tree protection in place at the Warren Park course.
Yeah.
So great asset for Hornby. Another item that came at the Hornby Residents Association was boy races are causing some disturbance and strife for residents in and around Hornby at the moment. So whether we can, I guess, refer to the community patrol or police to help control that situation, because it's keeping a lot of residents awake through the night, causing a lot of stress and anxiety.
Unfortunately, community patrols can't actually do much other than observe and report.
Yeah. Very good. Another item that was mentioned was everyone's happy to see a piece of football path being replaced on one side of Witham Street, but wondering if there's timetable for the remainder of the footpaths around Hornby, because there's a heck of a lot of them that need to be attended to, probably even a lot more urgently than Witham Street did. So whether we can find some timetable from the staff around upgrades. Springs Road was mentioned as a particular piece of interest, with tree root damage down that footpath quite largely.
Yep.
So if we could get some advice on any timetabling and scheduling for the remainder of Hornby, that would be really appreciated. Brown Park trees were mentioned. There's been some residents putting through some messages to the Residents Association about the blocking of the sunsets from their premise, making it quite dingy, dark, and doing damage to their fences and other pieces of property. Sounds as if there was some advice came from some arboral staff and council that the trees couldn't be thinned but would need to be removed. And I was just wondering whether we could have some advice to the board around those large trees on the eastern Branston Park as to how they might be able to be treated or improved. The Branston Park corner, or Branston Street corner, where we had the deputation to our board a few months ago. I understand there's been an accident there in the last week or so. So just, I guess, a question coming from residents there as to where the report might be on that corner, and any looking into what can or needs to be done on that corner. So
yes, we want to have that sort of urgently, because it's happening more and more frequently there. Yeah,
absolutely. And Templeton Residents Association last
Sorry
night,
to interrupt, Mark. What was the name of that corner where the accident happened?
Branston Street.
Branston Street. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. Thank you.
Very good. Moving on to Templeton now. We had a meeting there last night, and it was good to see Jimmy and Debbie there. And thank you, Debbie, for following up on that playground renewal inquiry for the annual plan. That was very much appreciated. There was also discussion around the safety meeting that was held out at Templeton last year, and the fact that they don't seem to have received a report out of that as yet. Whether Marie can offer any advice as to when that report might be able to be seen, because there was some really good discussion out there on that that safety meeting, and the community are keen to follow up on some of the feedback and plan that was mentioned. Also discussed last night, there was the Dawson Jones roundabout that's proposed by the new quarry, and it sounds like there's a proposed redesign of the roundabout potentially coming to our board in the coming weeks. And that was an interesting point of discussion. With sounds like Fulton Hogan may have redesigned it to give better access to the quarry. So look forward to seeing that, and we'll keep a close eye on that, I guess, and see what's being proposed and whether it's suitable and going to meet the requirements.
Yes, because that was a condition of their resource consent, wasn't it? The design of that, but we don't want this team to go back and rejig that.
Yeah, so it sounds like the committee that's been put together for controlling the aspects of the quarry before they get started is all over it, but it sounds like it's coming to our board in the coming weeks. So we'll watch that space. And then with that, there was the Kirk Road and Railway Terrace heavy traffic route designation.
Yes.
Was a
Yes.
hard point of discussion around there as well, with some interesting manoeuvres been going on there recently, and some suggestion, I'm not sure whether it's from a council or a Waka Kotahi officer, that potentially the heavy traffic sign that's out there is potentially not really what was meant to be there, and the fact that further down Kirk Road there's a sign that talks about long vehicles.
There is.
And perhaps the sign should be amended to take away the heavy traffic and make it long vehicle detour or something of the nature was being talked about. So I believe there may be a delegation come to our board from a resident out there in the coming month or so.
Yep.
So that pretty well covers my list for the day. So thank you for that.
Good as gold. Who's next?
Jimmy, I'll go in order. Jimmy, then Anne, then Helen, then Debbie, then Andre.
Okay.
Thank you. First one regarding to the draft of the annual plan, because this year due to the COVID micron transmission, so no public drop in the sessions. But when I attended Great Hornby-Riccarton Association and also Temple Resident Association meeting, my view, we need to, a community board need to have a close contact with them, regarding to the particular review. All those long-term plan, second year, and the annual plan have any the particular for the capex or opex, any the items has been missed out or not. We have to review clearly. Then, even we have the overlap to make a submission, that's the best way. It means the community and community board all concerned, those the issue. Not just happen like previous year, like a long-term plan, we miss out. Those make submission regarding the 151, 153, those Gilbert Subs Road, those multicultural facility to be missed out. This just want to encourage the community board, me to more aware, more aware. The other one is actually the community, they can send their submission before they send out. They can give the community board as a copy. We can all aware of this situation. Second item is a Hornby Center, because based on the last week, the finance and performance committee meeting, the staff answered my question. Particularly this community center, due to the still the piloting methodology, which means the capacity, the misuse has been the change. And also regarding to the hydrotherapy pool, material goes through the procurement process. These two the factors will affect all the original the preliminary delivery the time schedule in March of 2023 next year. Probably will further delay. So we need to monitor, follow up this issue as well. Third one is regarding to Horseball Junction Road, because this one also take a long time, but at the moment, my understanding, the staff has strengthened the meeting, and they have management level meeting with the Kiwi Rail, particularly regarding the Kiwi Rail, their kind of program and their design, this one. The other one is particular is it's possible those the budget will affect, list
Alan,
original
turn
schedule.
your phone
This
off,
one need
Alan.
to be. Excuse me, who is
I'll just
noise?
tell Helen Broughton to turn the phone off, please.
Okay. So, but now the staff particularly mentioned the construction work, will be commenced in the first half of 2022, and also in June of 2023. Next year will be the finish regarding to this one. The fourth item is section 1, the major cycle route South Express, particular from the High to the Jones Road, Templeton. This one we also particularly concerned the issue for a long time, but the staff answer my question. The majority of the work will start and complete in the March of 2023. However, because still the concern those the improvement of the intersection Gilbert South and Waterloo Road, Murphy Street, and the Parks Road, etc. This one, they particularly mentioned, they were presented to community board soon regarding to the report and the options. But I attend the Great Hornby Resident Association. They mentioned because they concern this issue back to the maybe two years ago. I was also on site in there. They raised this issue, would like to partake of this, the presentation as well. So the maybe community board can ask the staff, whether can invite the Great Hornby Resident Association together to, to listen to this one and can get the feedback to them. The other one is a particular section 2 from the Buchanan to Craven Street. This one, my understanding currently is a little bit smoothly, but only regarding to those 11 trees. The staff they replied to me, landscaping plan will be completed soon and will be inform the community board, including the tree species. They will replace the 22 trees based on the tree policy, and also there the planting time will be start between the April to the September. So I think that's a very good season can replant. So we look forward to this can be done as quickly as possible. The other one is the particular Great Hornby Resident Association concerning the 121 Brandon Street, the bond issue. And also Mike, the chairperson and the committee, they attend the meeting. I chair the meeting, invited a particular head of the resource concerned people. We particular the two issues because the first one is staff, they have engaged and spoke with the applicant for several times. They also have the on-site, but still the putting together the information needed to certify the section 92 and this Resource Management Act. And also this information, including the landscaping and the management of the landscaping. I just want to share with you. But the Great Hornby Resident Association regarding point 2, yesterday they have sent to the council planner regarding the community and the residents particular concerned this issue. Just want to feedback to all of you. So that's briefly my the share with the elected member. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Yes, well noted report. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, we got Helen next.
No,
Yes.
Anne
Anne,
next.
sorry, Anne.
Sorry.
Just a couple of things. Firstly, I'm interested in what's being planned for the old Hornby Library. So is there something in process? Just thinking about Gilberthorpe's Road, is there an opportunity to use the old Hornby Library for a community space as well? It's been really successfully done out at Horseball with the old library out there. So it would be perhaps good to explore some of those, that idea. And the second thing, just Marshes Road, there's hopefully a meeting of residents on this Friday, just to talk about some of their issues, the dangerous corners that are along there and the speed and how things can be perhaps improved. So that's in the pipeline, hopefully. So that's all.
Good.
Thank you.
Good. That intersection causing some issues in other parts of Horseball as well, with traffic being diverted down the roads and breaking road edges and all of that sort of stuff. So it's well worth having a look at that, Ian. Thank you.
Now, Helen.
Yes, first, you've probably noticed there's a lot of concerns about students, which has actually got to the media. We had a working party in 2009 with the police, the Students' Association, the university, Pendleton Waimari rep, and we came up with some protocols. Now, I think what's happened, we've had the earthquakes and things went quiet, and then there's been a change of Vice Chancellor in 2017. And I think some of the work that was being done by university administrators has sort of gone. And so I'm starting to get phone calls again, when in the past, in those 10 years, phone calls were sent to the university and they followed through with letters or visits. So I think we'll have to start something up again, but I do want to talk to university people first to check what actually is their system at present, because they were sending out letters, going out in person, and some students had volunteered to actually replace letterboxes. It wasn't the same students with the parties, but it was other students who said, look, if there's damage, we'll clear it up. So I think that sort of thing has broken down. And the second issue is that Catherine and I met with the vice principal of Villa Maria and the head girl and the residents in Brodie Street. Catherine, are you wanting to say what's being planned in terms of a notice of motion?
Yeah, sure. So so basically Villa and the Island Mapi-Riccarton Residents Association wanted to catch up with us because they felt that the traffic and the parking in their school area hadn't been looked into for years, and they've had quite a bit of growth for the school. I think when I was there, it was around 600 students or something along those lines, and now they've got over 800. And so they had concerns in terms of, especially along the Yoldhurst Brodie intersection and whatnot. So we're going to have a look into that. They'd like to come. I've organised for them to come. Well, we've organised for them through Emma's assistance to come and present to us in our next community board meeting. And hopefully by then, Helen and I, actually, Emma, can I double check with you? Because Helen, I know we wanted to do a notice of motion for staff to look into traffic management with traffic report and parking and whatnot. But I think in your email, you said if they were coming to present, it might not be needed.
I think that was Faye that was.
Oh, Faye.
Faye, can you talk to that? Because I know that you gave me that information.
Yes, that's right. So if they come and do a public forum, then if you're looking to ask for staff advice, then that can be done out of a public forum presentation. Doesn't need to go through a notice of motion process. If you're looking for something other than staff advice, then you would need something else. But I think probably in your first instance, that's what you're looking for, isn't it?
Yep.
Yes, so
it may be a little bit more specific because there's really an issue for the school and then an issue for, in fact, residents. So it may be better to do a notice of motion, but
but you need to be then specific what you're asking for. I mean, I think a good starting point might be to ask for staff advice and raise the concerns, all of the concerns with them, so they're aware of.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. Look,
we can think about that anyway.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Who was next?
Debbie, and then Andre.
Debbie and Andre. Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I've got 6 items here. First of all, I'm just wondering if there's a comms issue or a comms at the main trunk line, because I had a member from a residents association call me. It took them 7 months to get back to them, and that was even after a follow-up. So I'm a little bit concerned about that. I've had to follow it up now for them. I'm not sure yet if they've had a reply, but 7 months is a bit long, and I'm noticing a lot more bits and pieces going, taking a really long time there, which is a concern. The other thing that's come up is we were talking about the tree register, weren't we? That was at the HRA. Wasn't it, Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the Hornby Residents, the Greater Hornby Residents Association, and they want to know if there is a public, if there is a register of trees, and if it's publicly available. Does any of the staff know about that offhand? I thought there was a register, but I don't know if it's publicly available.
I think it should be. It's significant trees and it's district plan.
So it's only significant trees?
Yes, so they're all notable trees, I think is the word. And they've chopped it back from a large number to a small number.
No. There's another standard of trees now, that if a tree's 3 metres or higher, it goes onto a register, but it doesn't register trees that are under 3 metres in height. So
going back to that question, Faye or Emma, do you know whether or not that register, the tree register, is available for public use or viewing anywhere?
I would need to find out, unless Faye readily knows.
I don't know
I don't
readily,
know.
but I don't see why it wouldn't be. I imagine if you're maintaining a register that it would be available.
We'll respond on email.
Okay,
thank you.
The other item that was brought up was that the 40k speed limit in Wigram, is it working, and is there any monitoring going on? Because the reason why it's being asked and is raising concerns with many, including ourselves, is we're needing to know if it's effective, because for future areas that are hoping to put in lower speed limits as well, because if it's not going to be effective, then what's the point in wasting all our money, the ratepayers' money, in doing this? So is staff, Emma or Faye, are you aware whether or not there is any monitoring going on?
So my understanding is that they are doing or are going to do some additional speed surveys, and that's what they were going to extend to the Awatea Gardens when that request came through. So I think that
so when you say surveys, do you mean road speed checks, or are you talking about literal surveys dropped off into mailboxes?
Oh no, I'm talking about road speed checks, which are probably what do they call it, a speed count or something they'll be doing, as far as I know.
So you don't know.
But Debbie, you're referring to speeds before the speed limit change and after, though, aren't you? To see what actual difference it's made.
Well, a comparison, absolutely, because I mean I've travelled through there, as well, and it just appears that there's no monitoring, and is at the end of the day we just want to know if it's being effective, really. And I know that they said that that the reasoning behind putting 40Ks is that it encourages people to travel lower than 50, whereas if you put 50, then people might travel over 50.
Okay.
50.
Yeah.
So
right.
If we can.
So
have
what
some,
we're asking for is a survey. Yeah.
Well, just wondering if it's in place.
I think they've got, if it's not underway, I think they've got plans to undertake it. Yeah. So they leave it a certain time, obviously, for it to kick in, so that people are aware of it, and it's established, and then they do the survey. Yeah.
So can we have some indication when that might be happening? And do we get feedback from that survey as a board?
I'm not sure.
Well, can we ask for it?
Yeah. If we could ask for it, Faye, would be great. If we can have some indication of when that's going ahead, and also if we can have a response about how effective it is, would be great. Faye, also, have you got that photo there?
Which one, Debbie? There's
Franco.
The Franco one. Yep. Yeah. I think Noella has it loaded and ready to go. Here we go.
Lovely, thank you. This is just another example of what Andre brought up last week in Newland Way. This is Franco Road, and going down there with parking, and often there's more parking on either side as well, so it can get really tight. I mean, my car can only just get through there, and it's a tiny car. So if you're a truck, you're not going to get through there. So, or a bigger car, in fact. So could we perhaps ask for further traffic, if we can have our traffic engineers looking at that again, because I know we have already put yellow lines in there in and around the stables to a limited capacity, but I think it needs to extend beyond as per this picture here.
Okay.
The other thing is also, so we don't need that picture up. Thank you very much for that, Noella. The speed sign issue on Horseball Junction Road that Greg's been dealing with. Where are we at with that as a board? We need to be sitting down, talking with him, going out there. Basically the road from, I had him on the phone the other day. Basically he's saying that the road environment is creating the issue there for him, and that's basically the speed and the sign. So are we in a position as a board?
I'm working on that. I'm working on that. I've just seen I've just sent an email through to NZTA, pleading them to meet and talk about that.
And
so
is that was us as a board and Greg?
No, because the staff came back and said there's nothing they can do about it. So anyway, and I think the board was saying if you want to do something about it, Mike, you can go and meet with the, So that's what I'm doing now.
Yes,
I've requested a meeting with Greg Olive and myself with the boss of NZTA in Christchurch, who happens to be away until the 29th, which is today. So I've got an email back saying that he's away, and so he knows what it's about.
Okay, I look forward to that meeting. Thank you for that update, Mike. Yep. The other thing too is the TRA, yes, mentioned about the playground. Is in major repair, so just keep an eye out, guys, that we will be bringing that to our annual plan as a bring forward, as it's down for I think 26, 27, wasn't it? So because it's in state of disrepair, so just be aware that that will be part of our annual plan submission as well. That's all from me, folks.
Debbie, we have some photos loaded on that for you. Did you want those to be shown? On the playground?
That was for the submissions committee meeting, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll keep it for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Another question around that playground. Seeing as how it's in a state of disrepair, is there any other pots in council that one can reach into for the maintenance of that to bring it up to speed in the meantime?
Good question.
Yeah.
I mean, just following on from that, they're not looking that, they're happy for a community involvement partnership with council on this too. So, happy to work in with council, reduce costs, all that sort of thing. I mean, go out there, do a bit of painting, sanding, all that sort of thing. So they're happy to do that and work in partnership with the council too.
Perhaps we can talk to a few service clubs, see if they might be interested to help.
Yeah.
That's all from me.
Andre, you're the lucky last, buddy.
Thank you. Yes, me and Debbie both had the issue of speed reviews on our daily members elected exchange agenda here. Now, I'm really saddened to hear about someone's pet being killed by a car in Awatere Gardens that Mark just mentioned earlier. Now, to the best of my knowledge, all the feedback we've heard from residents so far is that the speed review in Wigram Skies has achieved very little in preventing problematic speeding, which is the problem part. So I'm mindful that we are about to go and do the same thing in Aidenfield. So I do think it's time for us to have a discussion at some point very soon about investing in actual speed calming measures on particular problem roads, rather than putting up 40 signs and hoping that problem speeders on our streets will just stop speeding. We're moving from Wigram Skies to Aidenfield when the job in Wigram Skies hasn't really been finished. And it's critical that resources and money are prioritised towards the most effective solutions. And unless I can be provided with proof that the Wigram Skies speed review has been effective, I don't understand why we aren't considering better options for Aidenfield, because we can only prioritise so much at once.
Yep, fair enough.
It's a discussion we need to have at some point before we go ahead and with the Aidenfield speed review. We need to investigate whether there's other options on problem roads like Aidenfield Drive that might be more worthwhile than a speed review for the entire area, which will, in the process, will take about a year.
Yep, fair enough.
Yep. Sorry, Mark.
No, I was going to say, and when we're doing those speed reviews, back them up with some paint on the road and put something in the way to make it slow down. Goodness sake.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm mindful of my my notice of motion from May last year regarding signage on the road from Longhurst, and these things are much harder to fix up later after it's done, and I'm very mindful of that. So we want the resources invested as well as possible with as many positive results as possible, as I'm sure everyone wants. Yeah.
Yep. No, good as gold.
Another issue on a playground. Now, myself and Anne, we got an email from a disgruntled 3-year-old resident late last year. And this is in Quarry View. Now, there was some swings and balancing logs around that area that children in the area were using. That had to get removed for housing. Now, the quotes we've got from this 3-year-old were, but there are already lots of houses and not playgrounds, and now there is no playground. And the question directed to me and Anne was, when are you going to put the swings back? Or where will you build us another playground? So an ultimatum has been delivered to us. Now, we got a response back from staff advising that a playground or playground equipment was being investigated for this grassed area on the corner of Provincial Road and Muirhill Road. So I understand there may have been delays in this process. So just keen to hopefully find out if there is still some work going on in that space. And potentially looks like she's got something to say here as well. So please come into this one, Anne.
It's fine. Yeah, I think the same problem has happened with the accessible playground equipment for Horseball Domain, and it's a supply chain issue. So 16 months is the waiting for the accessible playground equipment. So I'm imagining it's the same issue, but it would be worth asking.
Yeah, worth asking the question. It just sounds like the young people there aren't necessarily looking for anything too fancy, but some form of playground equipment like the good old swings they once had, or in fact anything at all. Sounds like it would be well received. We won't be able to deliver on the list of requests from this constituent, but anything there will be very well received. So any update we could get on whether they're still looking into it. We've got to advise that there's possibly development contributions available for that. So any advice would be much appreciated. And last but not least, so we got confirmation today that the Milne Spark Sutherland's road intersection is not budgeted to be improved until 2028. So this is a real concern. There's a retirement village being built beside it as we speak, along with the preschool, hundreds of new homes, thousands of new homes in the wider area. So the idea that this intersection couldn't be improved for another 6 years is really worrying. So I'll be doing everything I can to ensure that residents are making submissions, asking for this project to be brought forward. And I would encourage all board members to be doing the same in any conversations they might be having with people making submissions.
Are there DCs that can be paying for this?
What was that? Sorry, Mark?
Are there DCs that can be used to start paying for this?
So there is a development happening on the corner there. So I can only assume that the footpath and whatnot will be going in when that development is done. But for the wider intersection that all needs improved, that's still not sitting there in the plan until 2028. So how it's going to work, I'm not 100% sure. The residents in Horseball Down, so obviously it would be an improvement for them just having that footpath that the development might bring with it, but it does still leave the obvious issues with the dangers of the busy intersection itself. So.
Can I say, Andre, I thought we had semi-agreed anyway that we would have a list of things that we weren't pushing for this year, but we wanted to signal had to be done more sort of urgently. So that we'll probably have a list in the annual plan of about 3 or 4 items which need attention.
Yeah,
that's for the submissions committee.
Yeah, and I've gone out to community for feedback on this intersection, and I've heard from, I think I've had about a dozen emails and messages so far from families in the area who have to drive 200 metres to get to their nearest playground. It's and no pedestrian access to local amenities, shops, playgrounds. It's unfair for families. It's unfair for young people. It's unfair for our disabled community as well that they don't have access to the nearby amenities.
Here.
Thanks. That's all from me.
Yeah, and I don't think after everybody else.
That's
sorry. Oh, Gamal, sorry, brother.
So Gamal's there, and Mark's got his hand up again, and Helen's got her hand up again.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine. So that's fine.
Hey, Gamal.
Yeah, thank you. Just ahead, I was walking in Riccarton, and I was taking videos and stuff as usual. And this scooters that you can see are lying down everywhere.
Yes.
This scooter is actually a concern for the biggest priority for me is the safety for people, especially on mobility cart. So parking on designated area for them is a need, I think, because it creates, it's dangerous for people on the footpath. So I'm wondering if what the council is going to do about this, because they are everywhere and they are your way and it's causing troubles.
I'll just come and pick them up with my trailer and take them away.
Can I just touch on that briefly, Gamal? So those apps, some of them are really good at telling you where you should and shouldn't be parking. So if you're parking, if you're putting your Lime scooter away right in the middle of the footpath, it's sort of alerting you and saying not to block the footpath and so on and so forth. So I wonder if council, it's worthwhile council following up with those e-scooter providers, urging them to consider utilising the app to remind users where they should and shouldn't be parking. And some of them in some cities actually encourage users to park in a certain spot and they get 10-20 cents off their ride. Of course, if you're going to save a few cents, you're going to park it where you should and not where you shouldn't. So we're really worthwhile reaching out to those providers because they have to be meeting certain conditions to be able to operate here. So there's, I'm sure there's communication available with them.
Yeah, actually, some of the, somebody put me on. No, can you still hear me? Yes, I think.
Can I just follow on from that too, Gamal? That I've found a lot of those too in Horseball, and it has become a bit of a problem. And even though they would have got a consent with those parking restrictions, like what Andre was talking about, it basically comes down to people riding behaviour. It's really difficult to monitor. So I really feel I hear what you're saying.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any more, Brother Gamal?
No, thank you.
You sure?
That's the day for me.
Carpoi, brother. Now, Mark, did you want some more?
Yep. Just got one more point that I think we'll probably raise is we've had the first day of the 62 Riccarton Road alcohol off licence hearing, and we've got a second day planned this Thursday. So I just thought I'd make the board aware of that. We've got that's an ongoing matter that Helen and I are covering on behalf of the board.
Good. Thank you very much for your input into that. Thank you. Much appreciated, guys. Anybody else got any information they wish to exchange? If not, thanks very much for the information that you have exchanged. So, and that was very, very helpful. So everybody's done such a good job that I don't need to raise anything at all at this point in time. So thanks very much for your jotting down.
Thank you, Chair.
Did you
Thank you,
stay
Mike.
for another 5 minutes, Mike?
No, sorry.
Did you want us to wait another 5 minutes after the meeting so we can talk about that email that went around earlier?
No, well, I'm it's not much use having a meeting after a meeting unless, because it's actually my wife's birthday today and we're supposed to go.
And it's not my daughter's birthday. I need to get off.
Happy birthday.
Go. We'll talk about it offline.
Yep,
Yeah.
no, that's good as gold. So
Okay.
sorry about
Okay,
that.
happy
I don't
birthday
use
to
the full
everybody.
rank very often, but anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
I'm going to
thank
hold
you.
up a hot date, Mike. I'm not going to hold up a hot date.
Okay. See you,
Thanks very
everybody.
much, everybody, and thanks to staff for your attendance, and thanks very much for your patience, your endurance, and your understanding of each other's points of view. Until we meet again, have a good day and keep safe.